So, hi, friends. I hope that you're doing well today. So, today again is another beautiful Monday. It's been a very busy day, and I just did not want to miss to come over and say hi to you guys just for us to run and see how everything is going. Again, it's been a busy day, but I found a few minutes to sit and have a conversation with you. And today's conversation is going to be one that so many people ask me about, and they ask why are you so against it? I am so against it for a few reasons that we'll go over, but there are a few things that are nice, but the bad ones outweigh. So we'll go over it. If you haven't met me before, hi, my name is Betty. I am a home care provider and a home care consultant. I help CNAs and nurses move from bedside to home care business. All right. If you haven't subscribed, please hit the subscribe button and follow me. Also, if you look at my page, you will see a link on there that will take you straight to our private community, which is for home care. So everything home care. So we'll be doing a lot of activities on there. So if you want to be part of the journey, please go ahead and hit that button. It's a free community. However, you will find other things that you can do. There's those things that are free for all, and you can learn from there, plus what is on the YouTube. So don't feel scared to join the community, because you will get a lot in the community than here on YouTube. Now, today's topic is about franchising. Okay, so if you've never heard the word franchising, it's just a business model that is prepackaged, where you purchase that prepackaged model. However, you use that model for your business. So you use the model that you are operating under the main company. So, for example, my company is called ABC Home Care. That's just an example. I don't know if there's an ABC Home Care, but that's an example. That's my company name. So what happens is, when you buy a franchise from me, you will operate under ABC Home Care, and you will operate under ABC Home Care, and you will also operate under all the rules for our organization. And then on top of that, when you make money too, you get to pay me for using my name. Okay. But otherwise, we'll talk about a few things here and there. So there are very many popular franchises, right? So before you go into it, you have to consider that there are a few things that come along with it. One of the things is the brand name. If you choose a franchise, if you choose to go with a franchise, for example, you go with a name that is strong, right? So some of the names that are out there that are popular, like Visiting Angels, Comfort Keepers, those are franchises, right? Like Bright Star, those are franchises. You look like Synergy Home Care, that's a franchise. So you can buy into the name and do business with their model. Okay. Even the systems, you use their systems. Pretty much, it's a package that comes with everything done, everything done. So you're not stressing over, like, policies, procedures, and all that. They're already done. Then you have to consider the reputation of that organization, no matter how popular it is. Check on how they're doing, like the reputation of how they're doing, how they've been in the market. Google check, call, and make all your due diligence. Then also you have to be sure about the cost. And this is where I come in, when with the cost, right? It can tend to be very expensive if you're just starting and you don't have that money somewhere, and you do not have the ability to, to get money, like a lot of money. So franchises can cost a lot. So, for example, a franchise fee can be between 35,000 to 75,000, depending, or even more, even 100 to 150, depending on what you're getting into. So, like, what I've seen is like 35 to 75 is just the franchise fee. And then there's the initial investment, which is not the franchise fee. So that can be between 80 and 150, or even more, depending on the location too, okay? And how marketable that location is, that can determine. So that's why they never give you like exact amount, right? They'll give you it's between here and here. So you don't know where you're going to land until you get your paperwork in. Okay. Then you have royalty fees. Remember, I told you when you start working with them, the money you make, you can give them between 4 to 10% depending on the organization. And it's not standard across franchises. You will be paid according to that organization, what they pay. Another thing, marketing fees. Because they are offering you all these things, they have done everything for you. Okay, they have done everything for you. Your work is just to work, to do business, right? And they've given you their whole model, right? You're using, like, for example, I'm giving an example because I know, like, if you're using visiting angels, it will be visiting angels too on your website and all that. Everything will be visiting angels, but then you work in territories, okay? We'll talk about territories in a few minutes. Then there's marketing fee, I just mentioned. There's territory restrictions. I don't like that. That's one thing, because you don't have the right to make a decision of the territory. You would have to build another territory or be in another territory. So for example, let's say your location is, what can I say? Your location maybe is Fort Worth, but between you and another organization, it could be you're in 5 zip codes, and then there's another visiting angels in another 5 zip codes. If you get your client is like, if you're in 76248, just guessing, I don't even know, 76248, and then you get a client maybe in 76117, for example. Yeah, right? Then you will have to give that client to the 76117 because you're not in that territory, for example. So no matter how many calls you get, you cannot serve that client because you're not in that territory. Territories are included in the contract. So during the time for the contract, you have to really make sure that you know what you're signing up for, the areas that you're signing up for, where you can see clients and where you cannot see clients. Okay. Then you have to have an office. Some states don't require you to have an office, but because you are going to be opening a franchise, you have to have an office. And normally, most of them, they mandate that you have to have an office. All right. So remember, that's another expense that you cover, not them. That is not part of the investment, and that's not part of the franchise fee. That is up to you to make sure you have that cushion, right? So your working capital can be between 50,000 and 100,000, which should be available. And normally, the bottom line is it often costs about 200 to 200,000 to get a franchise set up for you to be profitable. Okay? For you to be profitable. I hope I have discouraged you enough from doing franchises. The other thing is, not many people have that float money. But if you have that float money and you have 200,000, you want to start, well, go ahead and do it. Okay. So I personally don't do franchises. I don't encourage franchises, and everybody I have worked with or anyone that has talked to me directly, they know that I don't like franchises. And because I feel that they put you in debt, right? And being in debt is not really nice, especially if you're just starting out. You'd rather start from down and then grow up. That's how I feel. Okay. So some of the pros of having a franchise can be the brand recognition, because people know the brand. So you're not doing too much to be seen out there. Okay. Then training and onboarding, they often have that initial training already, available for your operations, for compliance and everything. They already have that. So you don't have to worry about those things. Then support systems, you may receive policies and procedures, your scheduling software too, and your HR tools. However, they're not free. Okay. They're not free. They're just available for you. Okay, they're available. Then the business model in a box, which means you're not reinventing the wheel. Okay, the system is already there. Your work is just to sit and to work. Okay, and then vendor relationships. So because of the name too, franchises have a very great deal of insurance companies that want to work with them and staffing platforms. Okay, so those are some of the things you can consider as good things with franchises. Then let me talk about the cons. So, so what you give up? You give up independence. All right. You give up freedom. You give up independence. You don't own the business fully because you have given that up. So because you're leasing the brand, it's not your brand. You're leasing the brand. You can't sell or transfer the business without their approval. They have to approve everything. You are bound to the franchise agreement. Okay. So usually the binding, they also have to make money, right? So the binding is between 5 to 10 years, depending on the negotiations that you guys have during the time of contract. Okay. But it's from 5 years and up. Okay. So, and then remember, now the other thing is because you have no independence, you have no freedom, you don't own the brand. Also, the fees, they normally have higher ongoing fees. So royalty fees, those are high. They eat into your profits because you have to pay them the set amount of fees that they need every month. You have to pay them. Okay, because you all just want to be in good books with them always. Then the marketing fees are mandatory. Even local ads, even if they don't benefit you, they are mandatory. Because remember, you're promoting the brand. Okay, so those are not optional things. So your freedom is definitely limited. You're limited to innovation. So you cannot innovate something. There's a long chain of approval before you can think of innovating anything. Okay. There's a very long chain of approval. Okay. You still do the work. Even with all these costs, you have 200,000, you have done that. You still don't have the freedom. You still cannot make the decisions. You're still ongoing. You have fees. You're still doing this. You're still doing that. You still have to do the work. So why not do the work for your own agency that you have started from scratch? Franchise doesn't get you the clients. You're the one who goes out there and you get the clients. You're still responsible for hiring. You're still responsible for compliance. You're still responsible for scheduling. You're still responsible for billing. Think about it. I hope it has overwhelmed you not to get into franchising. But if you feel that franchising is the way that you should go, you have thought about it, you have done your research, you've thought about it, and you're ready to invest depending on which company you want to invest in. Like I mentioned a few at the beginning. Yes, please go ahead and invest. Then limited exit strategy. You can't walk away or sell without penalties. Oh my God. Basically what they're telling you, it's their business, you're just running it. Okay? So you can't sell or walk away without any penalties. Some franchises, they report, some people who own franchises, they report they're being trapped and they're losing profits at exit, which I have seen personally. I have never done a franchise. I would never invest something like that on a franchise. I would rather work, spend that 100,000 marketing my business, getting things done. Okay. So think about this. Let me just trying to relax here and just break it down for you. Think about this, whether you're going to choose a franchise or an independent launch. An independent launch is where you sit down, you do your research, you come up with a name, and you start rolling. Okay. So a franchise will ask you for 100K plus to start your business. An independent launch can be between 7,000 to 20,000, just depending on how much you want to spend. Brand recognition, yes, you have it with a franchise. With yours, you have to work on it. Licensing, yes, you have support. You have support sometimes, not all the times with the franchise, right? And then independent, yes, you have support that's customized to you, especially if you're working with an a consultant like myself, you have that support. Okay. So whenever you choose to work with a consultant, it doesn't mean that you sit and just wait for them to make things happen. No, you work together. Okay. Although the consultant carries the more weight, you work together because there's some things they will have to ask you, you provide. They ask you, you provide, and they put things together for you. Operational freedom. There is no freedom in that. It's very low. Low to, I can say low to nothing very confidently with franchises because you have to follow the brand. Okay. Remember, I mentioned to you that you can't just make up a decision. Then with the independent, you have the operational freedom to do whatever you want. And as long as it's legal, you're in compliance and you're following your procedures. So you're fine, right? Because it's yours. All right. As long as, I always tell people, as long as it's legal and you're in compliance with the state laws, it's your business. You can make the decisions you want. There is royalties with franchises. There's no royalties with individual, of course. Now, the only way you can be parting with money in terms of royalties if someone has invested in your organization, and so you're giving them the cut that you have agreed on, okay? But otherwise, there's no royalties that are set for independent. There's no territory restriction for independent. Remember, we talked about territory restrictions for franchises. For independent, there's no restrictions. You just have to make sure that you have the approval from the state to see all the regions that you want to see. If you don't have, you just need to go to the state login and get approval for that. Then marketing control. With franchise, you are limited. However, with independent, you have full control because you're the one who decides where to go. So how to decide if franchise is good for you? You just have to see this amount of money. Is it something that is reasonable for me to use the 200,000 to get a franchise? Is it something that is realistic? Okay. Yeah, you have to think about that. You always have to think about that. Yeah, you have to think about that. So, are you that entrepreneur who is scared of building from scratch? I am not scared of building from scratch, for example, because I have done so many businesses, other businesses that are not healthcare. And we started from scratch, from doing Mary Kay to other things, and started from scratch. And so I don't have a problem with starting from scratch. So if you are a nurse, you're a CNA, or you are a caregiver, or you're just someone who wants to get into the healthcare field and you're feeling overwhelmed or you're feeling scared or you just need someone to talk to, I mentioned earlier in my page, there is a link. That link will take you to the private community. It's free to get into the private community. Then you can schedule an appointment with me and let's have a conversation. And then let's get ready to build your own legacy. Okay. You have to change your mindset to be able to start something on your own because it's big. Okay. So if you are out there and want to start your own home care, you're welcome to call me. So food for thought. Let me give you a food for thought. Franchising, and it's something that I wrote here. Franchising gives you a job inside someone else's business model. Beginning your own agency gives you a business you truly own. I will leave you with that. So again, my name is Betty. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, go ahead and subscribe and hit the notification button and join the private community. I'll be going live on the private community. We're going to have a lot going on there. So, and you can ask questions and you will be able to reach me directly there. There's a way you can reach me directly and we can have a conversation, okay? So I look forward to seeing you in the private community. If you haven't joined, I look so forward to seeing you there. Come, let's have a conversation and join the movement. And also, now that we have set up the businesses, if you have not watched the last two episodes, from registering your business to insurance to where we are right now, go back and listen and start somewhere, and then go to the private community. Click the link and go to the private community. There will be other things I will be dropping there that I will not be dropping here, okay? And then we can start working from there. And you don't have to be in a rush to start, but starting is more than just keeping quiet and looking, okay? So once you do that, we can continue the conversation. And then now, coming up in the next season, we're just going to be talking about operations. I have noticed that so many people have issues with operations. Like, let me give you an example. When you're pregnant, example, it can be difficult, but also that's the easy part. Then when you get the baby, that is where life really begins. So think about starting your business like that. This time you're registering, getting your license, that's the easy part. But the operations part, that is the part that gets so many people in trouble, gets so many people stressed and overwhelmed. I'm here for you, and I'm going to be helping you with that part and helping you also with learning how to do things on your own. And if you're not able to do things on your own, maybe you need that extra hand, we are able to provide that for you. So I look forward to hearing from you and to seeing you also here and in the other part. And also, don't be afraid to share this clip with anyone that you know. Just share this clip. You can also share any other clip you want, and let's all learn together and do something. If you have the heart of service, I would love to work with you. Have a very good day and the rest of the week too. I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye-bye.